What's up, everybody? It's been a little while. I apologize for not being vlogging more often. Been dealing with some things in my life and just trying to focus more on being a man and not just being a spiritual practitioner, and trying to find harmony and balance between the two. I appreciate all you guys who've been showing me love on Facebook and keeping up with what I've been doing there. Don't worry, I haven't disappeared. I'm never gonna disappear. Don't worry. That my Sharky Plus 02 channel is gonna be up forever. I might have little bits and pieces of being on hiatus, but I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. So I made this video just to say what's up to everybody, and thanks to my subscribers for continuing for their continuing support. Everything's cool with my life. You know, like I said, I'm focusing a lot on manning up. You know, I'm at that point in my life, getting into my 20s, where you start to stop being so idealistic about the world's gonna be perfect and everybody's gonna ascend and rainbows are gonna come down from the sky riding unicorns and everything will be better. Kind of gone past that idealistic kind of stage in my life, and trying to find some kind of balance, like I said, between those two things. It still bugs me though, because I see the large portion of people who are, and I guess I'm about to launch into a rant here, like I usually don't, so bear with me. I see a large portion of people, some young, some older, who still are caught up in this, I don't even want to call it new age, but in this whole kind of mentality, which is just a sort of amalgamation of old theosophical beliefs, which are long since debunked, and kind of a carryover from the early spiritualism culture of the early 20th century. People who think that the way to change the world is by just sitting and meditating and everything will be better. So that's why we have a dilemma here, is that sitting and meditating isn't going to make the world better. It'll make you better, and if you can be a better person as an example to others, that'll certainly help to make the world better. But as an example to others, what are you going to tell them? Oh, you just sit and meditate all day? No, you have to find a balance and harmony in your life, which sorry, I had a text there. So what was I saying? So yeah, it's important when you grow up past being 16, 17, thinking that the world's all going to be this great utopian place, to man up. And that's something that's really hard for a lot of us millennials and Gen Y people to do, because a lot of us grew up without fathers. A lot of us grew up being raised by our mothers. So that's another reason why I think that the New Age has such a feminine aspect to it, liberal aspect to it, if you want to put it like that. Everyone's equal. We're all the same rainbow child. All that whole train of thought. It's a kind of special snowflake syndrome that you got from your mother because you were raised in a single parent household by your mother, most likely, if you're a Westerner. And also because, of course, the universities and the schools indoctrinate kids with things like this, because they're run by hardcore social cultural Marxists, whatever you want to call it, left-wingers, who perpetuate this kind of whole feminization of society with the lack of the emphasis on self-responsibility, the idea that other people should pay your way, that the state owes you something, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when you have that kind of mentality, it actually does you harm. Like liberals, they think that they're doing black people good, for example, when they tell them that they think that they're helping black people when they tell them that, oh, you need affirmative action. Oh, you need white colleges to white colleges. You need colleges to let you in because uh, uh, you know what I'm saying, to let you in with lower test scores because you're historically disadvantaged, blah 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 blah. It's a whole feminization, Marxism, blah blah blah, which has translated very much into the spiritual, quote unquote, people in the New Age who embrace this very, like, you always hear people talk about the divine feminine, the divine feminine, the divine feminine, but I've never heard a single spiritual person talk about the divine masculine ever. Or if they do, they give it some kind of, left wing hippy dippy bias, which has nothing to do with being a man. So when you grow up out of the hippy dippy, feminized, victimized victim mentality, the New World Order is against us, this whole part of this whole thing, the New World Order, it's all their fault, blah 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 blah. That's this whole like victim, psychology, which is actually holding us down. And like I was saying earlier, if I was a black person, I'd be offended to think that that you white liberal intelligentsia feel that you need to you know um, give me a stepladder because I can't accomplish things on my own. And if you say that's because of institutional racism, blah 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 blah, it's a bunch of bullshit. There's, it is what it is. It's on merit, and that's how it should be. And that's the right wing. That's the divine masculine way of looking at things. Meritocracy, not a communist utopia where everyone is made equal, like this Common Core stuff that's going on, or they want to make everyone equal by reducing everything to the lowest common denominator. That's what this whole Marxist feminization thing tries to do. I mean, in regards to spirituality, so many people, since they've been growing up hearing this shit constantly from the media, from their schools, from their single parent mothers, they've been ingrained in this kind of passive aggressive, special snowflake. I'm the light shower, the way shower. I'm so this or that, even though I have no actual merits or talents, which would allow me to confirm myself this status. I kind of just say that because I've been told all my life that I'm special. Blah 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 blah. You get what I'm trying to say. So I meet that a lot, and I think that really needs to change. Like I said, especially since a lot of us who were raised with this kind of new age stuff in the early 2000s are starting to grow up. And when we grow up, we become more conservative because we realize there's nobody there to take care of you. It's about you taking care of yourself. There's no utopian society which is going to come and fix things for you, etc., etc. So yeah, my 10-minute rant already. I don't want to go on too long. I just wanted to make the point that instead of avoiding things which you think are negative, instead of projecting yourself as being so great, you should do the exact opposite. And that's what Tantra teaches. It's called the principle of inversion. You should actually look into what's negative and look and reveal the nuggets of truth which are contained within that shadow of your own self, which is formed by the repression of the ego. I've been reading a lot of Jung, if you haven't been able to tell, and I'm gonna be reading more of him to you guys in the future, hopefully. Um, there's actually a really good book I want to. A really good essay I want to read at least some segments of it to you guys called the Spiritual Problem of Modern Man by Carl Jung. You should really check it out. It's great. So I mean, take responsibility and for your own awareness. Take responsibility for your own self. Don't buy into these fantasies that are cooked up by half-brained idiots. That's nothing to do with being self-conscious, you know, enlightened or things like that. Being enlightened is being aware, being mindful. That's the key word of Buddhism is mindfulness. Be mindful. Don't just, I mean, when you're thinking in your thought process, examine every thought which arises. I've done this all my life, and it's what's made me, if I am able to say that, a little bit more insightful about things than some people. Because in my own mind, whenever I think of something, I'm analyzing it. I'm analyzing every single word. And that's also why it's important to have a good knowledge of linguistics so you can do that. I'm analyzing every word. Does this contain some kind of half truth? And if it does, cut it off. Cut it right the fuck off. Don't just allow that to atrophy, because what that does is it gets lodged in your subconscious, these lies, and then it comes forth as the shadow, and you don't even realize what you're doing, but you're being an asshole, and people who are more balanced can see that. Of course, you get along with other assholes who like to jerk themselves off with fantasies about what they think that they are. Um, so yeah, you know, growing up, taking responsibility for yourself. It's time to stop living this utopian nonsense, and it's time to look and see and find ways which we can integrate ourselves as Westerners, which is who we are. You know, you cannot just deny yourself that you're a Westerner if you're listening to this, or if you're an Easterner. I'm sorry, most of my audience, I assume, is Westerners. You can't just deny that aspect of yourself and throw it out, which is what so many new spiritual, whatever people do, religious people, because it's a part of your psyche. You know, it's a part of your psyche. It's a part of your unconscious. It's a part of your group psyche, your racial psyche, your national psyche, your cultural psyche. And if you just set it off to the side and don't embrace it, then you're not whole. You haven't become whole because you haven't integrated the levels which have led to the development of the culture where you're at. So by being truly modern, like Jung says, is to be able to integrate those things which have come before you, and yet still be able to think for yourself and see, okay, now how can I integrate myself with this knowledge that I have, with modernity? How can I integrate my self, which I understand to be, you know, something not just an animal, but something conscious and aware, with the past that's come before me, and how can I integrate into society in a positive way which will make me happy? Because it's important not just to swear it off. You have to develop step by step psychologically to be a happy, fulfilled person. If you just cut it all off and say, "Oh, I don't need it," you won't be happy and fulfilled because it's still there. It doesn't go away. It just becomes repressed and comes out in negative ways. So think about who you really are. I'm very proud of being raised in America. I'm very proud of being from European civilization. I'm very proud of those things, and I'm not throwing them away. In fact, I want to be able to amalgamate into them in such a way that makes me happy and also allows me to grow in the way that I want to grow. And that doesn't mean that I don't want to do anything like spiritual or open meditation centers or something. Carl Jung himself was very much a spiritual guru. In fact, I think he was a manifestation, a tulku of the medicine Buddha. Dr. Carl Jung, I believe he was the medicine Buddha manifestation. So I think I've made my point, and I'm just rambling here. So I'll upload this blog, and you guys can check it out.